name is Carissa, this is the Fat Girl Flow channel, and today we will be talking about Disney's Magic Kingdom and how it was going there as a plus size person, because you know, a lot of the info out there isn't really hitting on what it's like to be super fat. I whoopsie daisied and flew a little too close to the brunette sun. I didn't know I was looking for dark blonde and not medium brown, so now I have next to black hair. And you know what? Sometimes your hair journey just takes a direction you weren't expecting, and you just run with it. And honestly, this is closer to my natural than it was, so whatever. Okay, so to start off with Disney, so many of you asked if I fit in all the rides and all of the like standard questions that I would expect, and I will of course answer those. But I also just want to talk about a few things that weren't talked about in like any of the websites I looked at when I started looking into what I needed to know for Disney. If you aren't familiar with Disney, it's like playing a video game. Like, I don't think that you can know how to experience Disney until you've gone. Like, I have never been to Disney, any Disney parks. I'm 38 years old, and we, as a family, my family went to Disney for the first time, all of us, including my niece and nephew, over this last spring break. And there is so much to know about Disney. I can't even tell you how many like websites there are out there just about how to plan your Disney trip. It's genuinely like its own universe. And this kind of threw me a little bit because everyone was telling me like what to do at Disney and how to do it, but I don't think I really understood how much like you really don't know what you're getting into before you go, and how much you go and then you're like, oh, I see why people do it that way. If you're a first timer, I really recommend just knowing that like you're not gonna get it all perfect and to just try to enjoy yourself, because it can be really overwhelming. Like, even getting into the park, when we got there, we were apparently supposed to have like these cards to get into the park, and we didn't, and they had to help us get the cards and stuff. The whole thing is just confusing. It's confusing as fuck. And my very sweet mother, who's over 60, planned all of it, and like, I honestly don't know how people do it. I couldn't have planned it. There is an app for your phone that is helpful, still not easy. I feel like if you're a kid who started going there really young, maybe you can like get the, I don't know, maybe I am just like this is not my thing. Anyway, I loved Disney. So all of that said, I loved my experience there. I had so much fun. I thought that it was just as magical as people say, even though it was wildly overwhelming for the first like hour, and I thought I was gonna have several panic attacks, but once I eased into it, once I got on a couple rides, it was as magic as they say. The first thing that people talk about that maybe I think isn't talked about enough for accessibility and plus size people, if you can't walk 50 to 100 yards, you need to rent a scooter, period. People talk about getting handicap parking or mobility parking. It's still 100 to 200 yards to where you get on the transportation for Magic Kingdom. It is a long walk, whether you are parked in primetime parking or not. And if you are not able to walk that distance, there are many scooter companies that you can rent scooters from before getting to Disney World, because Disney World, like when I got there, they were sold out. There was like a 5-hour wait to get one. They do not have that many. Again, we went during spring break, so it was pretty high traffic time, but their scooters sell out. Get a scooter from somewhere else. Rent the scooter before going, and apparently many of the scooter companies can drop off like at your hotel or wherever you are, and then you can take them to the park. You're gonna need the scooter in the parking lot. If you have a hard time walking, get the scooter. I'm gonna link a post below that I wrote for my blog that has other links to where you can learn about where to get scooters, and you can also read like the lists of which rides you can ride while on your scooter, which rides you need to transfer from your scooter to walking. Like you can't ride the scooter directly onto the ride. You have to disembark the scooter and get onto the ride. There are whole lists out there, and I have them all in that blog post. I think the question that so many people want to know is, do you fit on the rides? I'm a size 28. I consider myself super fat. I only went on maybe 6 rides, and I definitely was not in the thrill seeker category. I did not like go on the Seven Dwarfs Mineshaft ride or any Tron ride or anything like that. Also, the whole area where Tron was closed at 5 o'clock that day, which was really surprising to me. For whatever reason, it very much surprised me that Disneyland could just close entire sections of the park when they make their tickets and stuff so non-transferable. Like once you're in that park, once you pick that day, you can't transfer. The only time they give you your money back is for like hurricanes. If it rains, it's raining on you. So it surprised me that they just like can close an entire section of the park and you just like miss out on that. But you know, that's a gripe for another day. But I did go on several rides. I went on Little Mermaid, I went on Dumbo, I went on It's a Small World. I went on many rides, and Winnie the Pooh, which I wish I had my Pooh ears on right now. I'm obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. The rides are capable of holding your body mostly. There are long lists of which ones are plus size accessible. Again, those are included in the link down below. I think the easiest way to know if your body is going to be comfortable getting in the ride is considering if you're able to step into small spaces, if you're comfortable having your knees kind of maybe tucked tighter than they normally are. My mom has knee problems, and It's a Small World is one of the older rides there, but it's literally just like a boat on a shallow river thing, and there's no wildness to it whatsoever. And it is the ride my mom struggled with the most, because where the seat is and where the next seat back is pretty close together, and she had to have her knees kind of tucked under her. She's a size 12. She's not plus size. She is an average size American, and it was still hard for her with her limited mobility in her knees because it was snug. And getting in and out of that ride as well, a lot of the openings to the rides, like where you sit, are literally this big. So you have to be able to maneuver your body into small spaces. And I think that that's something that we really don't talk about a lot with Disney. Yes, your body will fit on the ride. Yes, your ass may fit. Yes, the lever that comes down may fit over you. But it is a little bit tricky getting in and out of the rides. It's not what I would say is like totally comfortable. I know that Disney's like meant to be very accessible. I know that we all applaud Disney for being more accessible than places like Universal Studios or other theme parks. And still, like, the reality of this place is that it's a theme park and it's made to be accessible with some caveats, you know? I don't know that with Jay having kind of bad knees, if they would have been comfortable maneuvering in and out of some of these seats without someone like holding their hand getting in, or maybe even at all. My dad, who's 70, had kind of a hard time getting in and out of some of the rides because of like moving walkways or stuff like that. So it was kind of nice to go with, I went with my sister and my brother and his wife and my mom and my dad and my niece and my nephew, which means I went from people age 5 to 70 with all varying abilities, all varying sizes, and got to see kind of how they interacted with the rides. And it's not the perfect place for people with varying abilities and needs, if I am being perfectly honest. I could see that it would maybe make some people feel left out a little bit. And I know that we are not supposed to speak poorly of Disney, but I see a lot of reviews from people who are like size 18 to 22 being so excited for Disney and how there's so much space, but those are things you really don't think of. You really don't think of how when you're in a much larger body, it's hard to like fit your feet really close together and slide into a tight space so that you can sit on the ride. So that's just something to think about before you plan your whole Disney vacation, hoping that it's the most accessible trip on earth. Another thing that people said about Disney was that there's so many places to sit. Maybe there is. You know what? The truth is, there are a lot of places to sit around Disney. In the middle of spring break, they're all being sat upon. There are so many people there. I genuinely don't know how to explain to you the amount of people unless you've been to like a Taylor Swift concert recently. That is how packed Disney is. It is wall-to-wall people. We arrived just as the parade was starting, so we like really walked right into it. And Magic Kingdom was jam-packed. You would think that like there would be lots of places to sit, but mostly people were sitting on the sidewalks, which is really low. If you need a place to sit and the only place to sit is the ground, that's not going to feel great for people who are maybe like size 26 plus, you know? Again, if you have a scooter, you have a built-in seat, so you can just roll up to anywhere and you're there. That's perfect. But there aren't as many seats as I thought there would be. I really thought this was like lined with chairs. I mean, I don't, by what people said, they were like, there's always a place to sit down. Not totally true. I think at the end of the day, our family walked about 4 miles that day. I have been kind of preparing for Disney for the last several months. I've been taking my dogs on like a lot of hikes and walks, and I've been like really prepping for this. Also, we did not go to Disney till 2 o'clock in the afternoon because we were traveling with little kiddos. We did not want to get there at open and be there till close, and we really wanted to see the fireworks. I loved going this late in the day. We got there at about 2:30 and the sun was like just going into a place in the park where everything was becoming shaded. So we were only under the sun for like an hour and a half maybe. When things started being shaded, you could kind of feel this like calmness come over the park. You could kind of feel this like energy come down, and around 5 o'clock the ride lines started to shorten. The weather started to cool off. I really felt like going in the evening was a very magical experience. Watching the sunset around Disney was just really fun. It just felt really nice. Everyone I know told me to go right at open. I am so glad that we didn't. It would have been burning hot. I would have been absolutely miserable. And we got to watch the fireworks on a cool night, and it was beautiful. I highly recommend adjusting the time frame that you think you may want to go, and also planning for 30 minutes just to go from parking into the park. Maybe 45 minutes. If any of you are from Kansas City like I am, you might be familiar with Worlds of Fun. It ain't like Worlds of Fun. You don't just park and walk in. There's like an entire tram system set up, so you have to like wait for a tram to get into the park. It's fucking big. One of the big positive things that I have to say about Disney is that the lines move fucking fast. Man, if you grew up going to Worlds of Fun or Six Flags, it felt like those lines were like creeping at just like a snail's pace. Disney lines, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't know how they've done it, but they move fast. You are in constant motion in the line. And if you're traveling with kids, lots and lots of the rides have like activities for the kids to do within the line, which is just, if you have kids, you know it is just a lifesaver. Not having a child grabbing on you and asking how long the wait is gonna be is so nice. Specifically at Dumbo, there's like a whole section where you can leave the line, go play, and then re-enter at that place in line, which is just, I just think that that's very cool. Disney is very thoughtful about children first and foremost, and my niece and nephew got to have a magical time, and I thought that that was really, really special. I do think that like the way Disney puts kids first is very, very magical. The other thing that surprised me about Disney is that there are not characters everywhere or anywhere. There are no characters to just be seen. Characters are a thing you wait in line for. I got a shot of Winnie the Pooh as he was leaving his line. I believe the line to see most of the characters that we wanted to see was about 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I have seen videos from Disney my entire life where characters are just walking up to people, hugging them. I thought that was part of the magic. I thought that's what happened. It's not. That's not how characters work at Disney. I will say during the parade, Ariel looked down at my little niece who has beautiful long curly hair and told her that she loved her hair, and it was a magical moment. It was so sweet. But she was in the parade. We never met Ariel. So characters are not around the park like you might assume. Overall, I think that my entire experience for like the memories watching, so when we watched the fireworks, I was sitting on Main Street looking at the castle, and my nephew like crawled into my lap and started to fall asleep on my shoulder, and we watched the fireworks together, and truly, like, it is like a moment I am never gonna forget. I'm gonna get teary-eyed just thinking about it. It was magical. Like, that Disney magic that they talk about, it happened. It happened for me. It was magical. So, you know, my Disney trip on a scale of 1 to 10 for magic, it was a 10. I did have those moments in Disney when I was like, holy shit, this park is magical. On a scale of 1 to 10 for accessibility, I'm gonna put Disney at a 6. I really think that there's a lot of hype around Disney being super accessible. I don't think it's as accessible as people make it out to be. At least not for first timers. Again, this is from a person who is experiencing the park as it should be experienced. As someone first time going in, which honestly, like, I understand the like fanfare behind it, and I understand that you really have to get to know Disney and that's kind of its pullback, but we should know what it is going in as a first timer, in my opinion. Are the rides fun? Yes. Scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna say a 7. They are fun. They're old. They are, you know, I guess I kind of thought Disney's like, they're all about movies and stuff, and these rides, I was a little surprised at how like not high tech they were. But also, like, I'm a 90s kid and it was fun to see stuff from my childhood, so I didn't really mind. Overall, my Disney experience was really good, and I hope that if you're feeling like maybe you want to go to Disney, that someday you give it a try. I do think that it is worth trying. I think that there are enough things within Disney that everybody can do that you don't ever have to feel like you have to leave out parts of your family. It is definitely still a theme park. It is definitely still made for able-bodied people, and it is definitely still a capitalist hole where every single thing that could make your experience better costs so much money. I think that is, I think that is all my shocking things, all my surprising things, and I hope that it has imparted even just like a little bit of knowledge. I mean, I'm sure some of you have been to Disney a million times and you think everything I'm saying is such bullshit, but you know, this is my experience, and I'm still going to be a Disney adult. Honestly, the park did make me want to come home and rewatch every Disney movie I've ever seen. Wasn't all bad, you know? It was pretty damn good. If you have any other questions about the park, again, it was Magic Kingdom at Disneyland in Florida. I did put a link down below to the article that I wrote, and you can find links within that about so many things about Disney. If you have any follow-up questions, please ask them in the comments down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!